Greetings, everyone. Hope you're well. My name is Sanjiv Venkatram, and recently I had done a post on LinkedIn talking about using Microsoft Power Apps to control to operate a model wind tunnel, and you can actually see that here. And Power Apps is being used to control a brushless motor that operates the wind tunnel. So what I thought I would do is actually give you the behind the scenes action as to how Power Apps is able to do it. And then if I were to sort of, walk you through the steps. So there are four steps in this. The first being Power Apps that actually runs there is a control, a slider that as you change the value in the slider, it initiates a flow. So you've got flow one here that stores data, stores that value from the slider into a CDS entity and into a field. And then you get a second flow that gets the data from the field and puts it up or throws it up to a web service. And then the last step is that you run a Python code in Raspberry Pi that would pick up the variable from the web service and then through a GET request and passes it to the Raspberry Pi or to the pin that would control the brushless motor. Okay, so let's see these components in action. So if I were to go up to my Power App, and that looks like so. It's a very simple app with a start button, a stop button, and then you've got a slider that once the motor's actually started, you can increase or control the speed. All right. So if I look at the slider and the on change property here has this flow called BLM CDS PA, and then now whenever I actually run the app and then change the value of the slider, this flow actually runs. Okay, so that's about it from a Power App standpoint. And if I now were to actually go to the flow, and I'm sorry I can't show you the actual flow because it's got my environment details and login details, so I've actually cut and pasted into Word. So if you look at the first flow, so you initiate by saying when there is an input from Power Apps. So that's your, I mean, you guys must be familiar with this one by now. And then from there, the next action would be list records in CDS. Okay, and it looks like so. And you put in your environment details, and then, the count here is just one record, which is the value of the slider. And then from there, you apply to each value. You actually collect the value, and then you update the actual value of the record. So in the right environment, the entity that I've actually selected as accounts, and the field, it's a custom field that I've actually created called BLM variable. Okay, so this variable gets updated with the value in CDS, from as the number actually goes in from the slider into the field name. Okay. Now, once this is done, what we're going to do is we're going to initiate a second flow, which says when an HTTP request is actually received, I use a GET protocol, and then when I save this, I get a URL, which is my web service. Okay. So from there, I initialize a variable and I give it a name. And then in this case, it's a float because the slider value is actually a decimal number. All right. The initial value here is 0. Then obviously I list my record, in which case, it's a unique count. It's just one record of the slider value. And from here, I apply to each of the value in CDS, and I set a variable, the PWM variable that I initialize out here. I set that equal to my BLM variable in CDS. Okay. And then from there, the response basically is sent to the web service, and that is the value of the variable, which is this PWM CDS. All right. So, and that's about it on the flow side. So you've got two flows now. So you've been able to get the value from CDS and then put it up to web service. From there, the Python code looks like so. I'm not going to go through this component of it. You can look that up. It's essentially, how do you say, getting a PWM, pulse width modulation, um, to get started. And that runs the brushless motor. But the key here is that I have a get request and then a variable that actually pulls the value from the web service. So here is the web service, the URL that you would actually have from, where is this? From this step here, you would actually get the URL from here, copy this, and then put it down here. So you get the value of like, the slider value. And then from here, you pass it to the right pin. And from the pin, it goes into the motor to control the motor. All right. Well, I hope this is useful and helpful to you. And what I'm going to do is to post this on LinkedIn, where the comment section is to my post, so that you can you folk can access it. As well, we have a business applications community teams, and I'll be posting this up here as well. Okay. Thank you very much, and very glad that you folk liked the video, and he is wishing you a ton of fun building this at home with your family, with your kids. All right. Thank you very much, guys.